Hello everyone, this is part 27 of What If Naruto Was Exiled After He Brought Sasuke Back, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Itindigan was in trouble. The Draconian was pushing him back. The fact that he now held both his blades and they had become pure silver were not lost on the former Tomb Guardian. On top of that, he was having to avoid arrows. He managed to pull the ones from his chest and arm and the wounds healed, but he noted his healing factor was becoming slower. Why won't you? Micah yelled as the twin blades crossed and nearly took off Itan's head, but he bent backwards and they passed over and he kicked Micah hard, sending him back. Clapping his hands, his scythe appeared. I am a mortal child. I was old before your kind ever came about. I will not be ended by you. I'll take that bet, Micah said as he spun the two silver mechadiscipline in a horizontal figure 8 pattern. You will like your mate, Itindigan said, and he knew that was mistake as Micah's eyes hardened and the wind around them picked up, cutting narrow stripes into Itan's his healing factor healing him up as soon as they appeared. Ino was further back now and she wasn't in the wind. She could see the results on the battlefield as the very air was visible with chakra. It tore chunks from the ground and the surrounding buildings. What do I do? Help him. What the? Ino said, looking around. I give what I was, and what I am to you. Help him. Okay, time to freak out, Ino said, looking at the bow in her hand as it began to glow. XX. Scared yet Dobe? Sasuke taunted, the red blade in his hand becoming darker than before, the curse seal bleeding into it, and Sasuke's appearance changes a bit. His skin becomes a sickly gray, his Sharingan eyes seem to glow slightly. You wish, Naruto says, bringing his mechadiscipline up in a horizontal position level with his shoulder. I won't let you harm anyone precious to me. Sasuke laughs. Won't let. You don't seem to get it, Dobe. I am a god amongst you all. I am an Uchiha. You can't stop me, you never could. Naruto snarled as his tails whipped around behind him. There was a clap of thunder and they were in motion, twin blurs as the sky overhead began to rain. Purple and red blades slammed together, their angry crackles filling the air. Right, left, right, spin around to the right. The blades met constantly, both Sasuke and Naruto let nothing through as the mechadiscipline met with angry crackles. Sasuke tried for a front kick to Naruto's gut, but the blonde kitsune brought his knee up and blocked it, then tried for a kick of his own, only to have that blocked. Left, right vertical slash. The blades were in constant motion and along with them were punches, kicks, knees, elbows and even headbutts. Their fight went from rooftop to street, back to rooftop. Sometimes they would pass through a fight and there were casualties of nin that got too close. Sasuke and Naruto were back to back, arm locked together while the mechadiscipline in their opposite hands clashed alongside them. Naruto reared back the back of his head connecting with Sasuke's, who staggered away. Naruto spun trying to take off his former teammate's head, only to have his purple blade blocked by the blood-red one of Sasuke's. Sharingan and Forced Eyes met Fox's blue, hatred filled the air with its own electricity. XX. Hinata sighed as the Genin squads took Kiba and Akamaru to the hospital. She accepted the soldier pills. Going to sleep for days after all this. Me and Naruto in a bed for days. Shaking her head, she headed towards where she'd last seen the explosion that she knew was the blonde. Be alright, Naruto-kun. XX. Tsunade and Jiraiya took a moment to catch their breath. With Orochimaru missing, his forces had no definite leader and they were failing. Gaara and the others were leading the Konoha Offsuna forces and they were gaining ground, pushing the enemy forces back outside the wall. Tsunade, Jiraiya asked, he was feeling his 50+ years. Orochi is out there, she said. We can't do anything about that until he shows himself, the Toad Sage said. Tsunade nodded. She hated waiting, and she prayed they could intercept their former teammate before he could do harm to those precious to them. XX. Shizune was running the hospital as more casualties were brought in. We're running out of beds, a nurse said. Then break out the cots and triple them up, Shizune said. Shizune. A nurse screamed. Itachi's flatlining. Shizune cursed and rushed back into the ER. She missed seeing a pink-haired figure slip in via an open window. XX. Micah's stolen mechadiscipline intercepted the giant scythe. The silver blades not doing any damage to the ancient weapon. Micah used his winter S into the Tomb Guardian, who laughed. You can't win. Itindigan taunted. Chakra blades and scythe connected as both spun and moved with a grace that made it look like a sly dance. Wind tore into Itindigan, leaving thin SS in the F. Micah with a move formed the mechadiscipline in an X, trapping the scythe beneath them and the against the ground. Micah looked up and brought his foot up between the hilts of the chakra blades and kicked it in as hard as he could. The crunch of bone was very satisfying to the dragon Hanyu. Itindigan staggered back, but managed to keep a grip on his weapon. He growled while straightening his nose. Spinning his scythe, he went for wild yet powerful strikes, alternating from left side to right side. Micah backflipped and deactivated the blade. He slipped them into the remains of his pants. Enough of this S, he said, bringing his hands to his side. XX. Naruto and Sasuke slammed their heads together, each trying for a headbutt, both staggering back and cursing the other. Sasuke tried to shush and behind Naruto, but the blonde seemed to have a danger sense and blocked his blow again. The Uchiha snarled and once more the blades were spinning about, slamming into one another. Sasuke was getting angrier with each block that Naruto made. Both twisted, bent and twirled like no one could without being double jointed. And then it happened. Sasuke with a reverse grip on his blade and Naruto with a standard grip swung. Neither blade connected with the other, they instead SD through the grips, missing hands by mere centimeters. Naruto and Sasuke flipped back and stared at the destroyed mechadiscipline. What the hell? A 1 in a million shot. Naruto thought as he looked at the severed grip in his hand. All that work, and they're both gone. Sasuke looked at the destroyed weapon and tossed it aside with a snort. His hands began to form seals and Naruto saw them and winced. Crap, he would do that in the middle of town. As he began to form his own seals, both screamed out the jutsu for all to hear. Summoning jutsu. 2 large clouds filled the area. XX. The wind and chakra formed in his hands as his silver hair whipped around. The pulse of power became greater and Iten was unable to go anywhere as Ino was sending volley after volley of arrows at him. While her aim wasn't up to Nami's standards, they were boxing in the Tomb Guardian, leading him into a corner. Iten realized it too late that he was cornered and he turned, hearing the final build-up of power. Micah roared, launching the attack. It roared straight and true, and the buildings that boxed in Itindigan were disintegrated. He was going to jump, but an arrow from Ino flew true as well and SD deep into his right thigh. He collapsed. Kami, why? Were his last thoughts as the Kamehameha wave destroyed him on every level, leaving a 20-foot wide hole that went down 100 feet as the only marker of Itindigan, Tomb Guardian of the Undervis. XX. Sakura smirked as she slipped from the room, the S-body of the nurse on the ground, her TS. Sakura looked at the clothes she'd stolen from an Anbu and put the mask on, the hood part hiding her hair. I'll show them. I'll show them all, she thought as she made her way down the busy corridor. First I must get the medical text Lord Orochimaru wants. Then I can K them all. She rounded the corner and froze seeing Hana Inuzuka standing there. Haruno, she said, drawing a pair of short swords. How? You're inbreeding with the dogs. You Inuzuka are proud of your bestiality. Tell me, Hana, I always wanted to know. Was it an Inuzuka whore taking it from a dog, or was it the bee putting it out for the whole pound? Sakura barely avoided the blades. Something in her head warned her, seeing the silver edge. US here, Haruno. Hana snarled as she refused to let the traitor go any further. Hinata said the same thing, so did your idiot brother. Sakura said, pulling a pair of knives from her back and blocking the short swords. You will end up the same way. Hana laughed. I don't think so, Haruno. Now. Sakura couldn't move. What the? Suzume Nara stood there, a smile on her face. My husband and son may be the best in their field, but I am stronger with better chakra control. The matriarch of the Nara clan said, holding Sakura in a shadow bind. And Ino and Inoiki might be seen as the go-to person, but I taught Ibiki how to tea someone. Kia Yamanaka said. She formed seals faster than Sakura had ever seen. Chakra spikes rammed through Sakura's arms and legs, pinning her to the corridor wall. Another figure stepped out of the corridor wearing a fox mask and sporting dark hair. My sensei was a master of seals and runes. A slender hand came up to reveal Rin. I have been working behind the scenes for 16 years. For the pain you caused, for the harm you've done, I sentence you Sakura Haruno to the ultimate prison. Sakura, unable to move as the women she'd never thought of as a threat stepped in and had her immobilized, watch as Rin bit her fingers and began drawing complex seals on the wall. My master will undo whatever you do. She spat. Rin ignored her. No, he won't, Rin said, and she finished it. This seal will send you to the forbidden zone. There is no escape, and no appeal. Rot in hell, Haruno. Her hands went through nearly 100 complex hand signs, and when she ended, Sakura screamed as she felt her body and soul being ell away. Rin reapplied her mask. I was never here, she said before vanishing in a leaf and smoke shushin. Kia sighed. Back to work, ladies. Hana, thank you for being here. Hana shrugged and headed back to check on her brother and the other Inuzuka riders that had been brought in. The end of Sakura Haruno took place not on the field of battle, but in a nearly deserted hospital corridor at the hands of two retired ninja turned housewives and mothers, a Chunin veterinarian, and a Anbu thoughtes. XX. Micah slumped to his knees. That's it. I've got nothing left, he thought, and his head turned as he fell to his stomach, his cheek resting on the roof. He saw the two giant puffs of smoke. Good luck, bro, I'm done. Micah closed his eyes as he felt someone land next to him. A hand touched his back and he knew no more. As the smoke cleared, ninja all around stood in shock seeing the giant purple-furred nine-tailed fox. Standing atop Takesus's head, Naruto smirked as the female fox stood higher than Manda. He could see Sasuke's scowl as the fox looked down on the Snake Lord. Oh, look, bait, Takesus said with a sneer in her voice as Manda was demanding SS from Sasuke. I don't care, K them and I'll give you all of Konoha to eat, Sasuke said. Manda hissed and looked back up at the female kitsune. You will SB, the snake boss hissed. They were in motion, tannic beasts dodging and attacking. Takesus's tails were lunging at the snake, and as they closed in, Naruto leapt from the vixen's head and dove at Sasuke, who met him in the air. They slammed together, both firing off punches as they fell to the ground below. The boss summons fighting moved away. XX. Tsunade scowled seeing the summon battle taking place in the village. Jiraiya, sort that out, she ordered. On it, he moved closer and his hands were in motion as he finished his jutsu, and Manda sunk into the swamp just as Takesus latched onto his torso with her teeth. Now we need to find Orochi team, the Toad Sage muttered as he leaned against a rail on a rooftop to catch his breath. Getting old, Tsunade said as she joined him. Damn right, Jiraiya admitted. Let's find a snake. We can't let him get to the Uchiha and interfere against Naruto, Tsunade said, and once more the Sannin vanished as they shushined away. XX. Shizune sighed as she left the surgery. Itachi's not out of danger. He might not survive the night, she thought as she saw more Konoha nin brought in. Only a few of Naruto's precious people had been injured. Rock Lee, Kankuro, Guy, Itachi and Kiba were the worst. Lady Hanabi. She paused seeing the leader of the Hyuga clan standing there. I and my clan are here to help, she said. We refuse to hide while Konoha burns. Shizune sighed. Thank you. Check with the desk to see where your people are needed. I'm revolving around. Hanabi nodded and sent her clan to aid where needed. She looked around praying she wouldn't find her sister and cousin here. XX. Ino looked on as the giant nine-tailed fox fought the snake. She was terrified at what she'd seen, but she wouldn't leave Micah. There was something about him. Using the bow she'd picked up, she fired at any nin that wasn't wearing Konoha or Suna markings. With each use she was getting better with the weapon, and it surprised her. Something in her mind was whispering to her, but she put it aside figuring it was nerves. She never noticed the slight glow coming from the bow and her blue eye getting a slightly green hue to them. XX. I'll KU. Naruto roared as he and Sasuke exchanged blows. The Uchiha's answer was lost as they hit the ground hard. Naruto atop the Uchiha. Sasuke rolled and the curse seal blazed, healing the damage he'd taken. You can try Dobe, but I am a god to you being an annoying gnat, Sasuke said as he powered up another Chidori and charged after he rolled to his feet, his ribs already mending. You're no god, Sasuke. You're a pitiful boy who grew up chasing his bigger brother and whining because you will always be weaker. I ked Itachi. Sasuke roared and charged. Naruto sidestepped and grabbed the Uchiha's wrist. No, you didn't, cause you aren't good enough, Naruto said as he used Sasuke's momentum and flipped him onto his back. Naruto released him and stepped back. Sasuke stood and scowled. You got lucky. He put a hand behind his back and began to focus on the seal Orochimaru taught him. I'll stop you with this, Dobe. That power you have is going to be gone and you'll be as you always were, the S last, and I emphasize on the S part. Sasuke sneered when Naruto came in range to strike him and slammed his palm over the blonde's midsection. Enjoy this, I hear you can't use your chakra while it's there, monster, Sasuke said, expecting the blonde to pass out like he did in the Chunin exams several years back. Naruto looked down then back up at him. Stop trying to cop a feel, I don't swing that way. Naruto followed it up with a thunderous headbutt that once again broke Sasuke's nose. He was on the Uchiha before he could blink, returning the earlier beating, his arms like pistons as he sent blow after blow into Sasuke's torso. Naruto stepped back and Sasuke tried to catch his breath, but Naruto spun and kicked him in the chest hard with a spinning back kick. Sasuke skidded along the ground and into a wall hard enough to crack it. Naruto was upon him alternating with left and right kicks. Sasuke got his forearms up to block. Why didn't it work? Orochimaru taught me that seal himself. What went wrong? The Uchiha asked while struggling to regain his footing. Naruto meanwhile was laughing inside. Stupid team. That seal would only work if Kyuubi was still inside of me. I am the Kyuubi now. Naruto allowed Sasuke to get to his knees when he spun with a roundhouse mid-kick and sent him skidding across the ground once more. Sasuke, as he skipped across the ground like a stone across a pond, managed to draw a bunch of shuriken and sent them back towards Naruto. Using his tails he batted them aside. Weak team. You're worse than you've ever been, but I guess being the personal sea puppet of Orochimaru made you feel all girly and special. Sasuke fumed as he pulled out a kunai and charged. Naruto was smirking ferally now as his taunts kept getting under Sasuke's skin. Geez, was I this bad? Naruto thought as he bobbed and weaved avoiding the wild swings. He kicked Sasuke back and looked to see Takis shredding Manda. Way to go, milady, he thought as he turned back to see Sasuke realigning bones and the dark energy of the cursed seal healing all the damage, and he noticed Sasuke's F turning a sickly gray. I will not be stopped by AS last like you. I ked Itachi. I'll K you, and when I'm done, I'll take that Hyuga whore that followed you around and use her as breeding stock. Think of the possibilities of an Uchiha with the Byakugan Sharingan merged. Naruto's eyes narrowed as his king intent washed over the battlefield, ninja on both sides dropping to their knees, paralyzed. Naruto saw Sasuke smirking. That's right, Dobe, I'll enjoy making her scream my name. I'll show her what a real man can do. The last came about as Naruto moved faster than light and was in front of the Uchiha, his foot connecting with Sasuke's and lifting him off the ground, sending him airborne. Naruto appeared above him in the air and with a blow sent him back towards the ground. Again Naruto appeared and with a spin kick caught the Uchiha again right in the sea and sent him rocketing through a nearby wall and out of Konoha. Sasuke skidded across the ground, the nearby river and into a boulder which shattered upon impact. Sasuke looked up in pain to find Naruto standing over him. A clawed hand reached down and pulled him from the rubble of the boulder by his T. You will never touch Hinata-chan, you stinking traitor. Naruto's voice was guttural as he held him dangling off the ground. Sasuke smirked at him despite the difficulty of his position. You can't stop me, Dobe. He kicked Naruto in the chest and flipped away, and his hands were in motion. Fire style, Grand Fireball Jutsu. He roared and spat the flames at his former teammate. Sasuke was pissed as Naruto with a tail batted the fireball aside. Stupid team. Fireballs are for kids, Naruto said, and his hands were a blur. Sasuke with his Sharingan couldn't even see what he was doing, and that made him mad. Destructo, disc, Naruto said as a disc appeared in his palm over his head and he sent it flying. Sasuke ducked and smirked. You missed, Dobe. Did I? Sasuke looked over his shoulder to see the disc come flying back towards him and he flipped into the air, his leap taking him over it and the disc slammed into a tree near where he'd been. The tree started to fall. Sasuke was shocked. Where is he getting all this power? Nothing I do seems to work. Sasuke turned in the air to see himself face to face with Naruto. What are you, Dobe? Naruto smirked. I am QB. A right punch spun Sasuke around. And here's something from Kakashi-sensei. Konoha secret finger technique, 1000 years of death, Naruto version. Naruto instead of using his fingers used a kunai with an exploding tag, and as Sasuke rocketed into the air the tag exploded. That will clear any hemorrhoids you might have had. Naruto said watching as Sasuke landed in the river. XX. Gaara, who was on the wall directing his forces in battle, saw the fight with Sasuke and Naruto. He saw Naruto with the kunai and winced, his hand going to his own backside as he recalled the attack all those years ago. Naruto Uzumaki, he thought as he created a sand mallet and flattened a Naruto ninja. Chaos and unpredictability, you are my friend, but if you ever use that attack on me again, they won't find your body. XX. Jiraiya and Tsunade saw the attack and Jiraiya winced. Tsunade looked proud. Wonder if I can duplicate that into my own arsenal. Jiraiya winced at the thought of Tsunade improving her anti-pervert technique, and he cursed his former student for doing that. Let's find the bastard, Jiraiya said, trying to focus her on finding Orochimaru. XX. Sasuke came to the surface of the river, his backside in pain. The cursed seal was struggling to repair the damage that had been caused. Get the hell out of the water, you're polluting the stream, Naruto said. Sasuke turned to see him standing on the water without effort. I'll KO you, Sasuke said. Don't you get tired of sounding like a broken record? Naruto asked. Sasuke leapt into the air and sent a barrage of fireballs, which Naruto's tails blocked. Sasuke went on the offensive with kicks and punches, his rage fueling his attacks. Naruto blocked or avoided them. Behind him the roar of Manda could be heard as he was destroyed by Takesis, and the cheer from the Konoha forces could be heard. Your forces are broken, Sasuke. Surrender, Naruto said as he blocked a bolo punch and sent Sasuke back with a palm strike. Sasuke snarled. No. He doubled his efforts, but Naruto would not be stopped as he blocked each attack and would slap Sasuke with a tail across the face. They were fighting atop the river, a pure taijutsu fight now as they moved about, their steps barely leaving a ripple on the water's surface. Sasuke tried for a low blow, but a tail blocked it while another slapped his face. Naruto with a flip kick sent Sasuke into the air. Naruto was preparing a Rasengan when a blur intercepted Sasuke. He saw the figure land on the other side and he frowned. Orochimaru, he snarled, seeing the Sannin holding Sasuke. QB brat, this is mine, he said, holding Sasuke. No, he's not, Naruto said as he lunged. X. Bastard, Naruto snarled as Orochimaru leapt away, taking Sasuke with him. Naruto leapt after only to find two figures with him. Ero Sannin. Bar-chan. Talk later, brat. We need to catch up to them and stop whatever Orochimaru has planned. With a nod, the new Nine-Tail Lord increased his speed, leaving two stunned Sannin in his wake. XX. Hinata found Mika and Ino, the blonde kneeling over the unconscious wind user. Hinata, thank Kami. I haven't been able to wake him, Ino said, seeing her land on the roof. What happened? Ino went on to describe what had taken place after they left the alley. You say you're feeling something from the bow? Hinata asked. Screw the bow, what is wrong with him? Ino said. Exhaustion. That attack he used takes a lot of his chakra, and he transformed earlier as well, which means he's on fumes. He's going to sleep for several days. Ino, give me the bow, Hinata said. What? No. I need to protect him, the blonde said, shouldering the quiver and stepping out of Hinata's reach. Why? What do you mean why? You know why, Ino said. No, I don't. You just met him recently. You don't know him, Hinata said. Yes, I do. I love him, Ino said, holding the bow tighter. Ino, let the bow go. Nami's spirit is merging with you. You're lying, the blonde said as she glanced at the unconscious man at her feet. I know everything about him. His touch, how he kisses. When we made love the other morning. Hinata lunged and struck. The Juken strike was to a pressure point and Ino slumped to the ground right next to Mika. Hinata looked at the bow. Nami, what did you do? She asked the weapon. It gave no response. XX. Naruto growled as he saw where they were going. You're not getting away, you bastards. Naruto leapt into the air and he focused his will. Do, Ken. The ball of chakra flew straight and true and slammed into Orochimaru's back. Yatta. Naruto caught up to the Sannin and growled, seeing him getting to his feet and reaching for Sasuke. I don't think so, you bastard. He leapt and Orochimaru sidestepped. Naruto tried to hit him with a spinning back kick, but Orochimaru blocked with a forearm, but the blonde was satisfied to hear a hiss of pain. I'll tear you apart piece by piece, Naruto said. You won't be able to do anything. He saw the tips of Orochimaru's hand and knew that the snake Sannin was about to try the 5-star seal, and Naruto made no move to block it as once again it hit him in the stomach. Jiraiya and Tsunade caught up in time to see this, and without a word they were on Orochimaru, attacking him and driving him back. Naruto sighed and wiped off his shirt. Bar-chan, Ero Sannin, back off. He's mine. Jiraiya and Tsunade leapt back. But brat, the seal. What is there to seal, Ero Sannin? Naruto asked and smiled, seeing Jiraiya smiled. Go get him, kid, he said. You two deal with the team. Which one? Tsunade asked with a smirk. The Uchiha. Me and the snake have some things to discuss. Naruto shushined away and appeared in front of Orochimaru and decked him hard across the jaw. Orochimaru spun and landed on his knees. Naruto watched as he straightened his jaw with a sickening crack and stand up. You will regret that, brat. Orochimaru hissed. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Come on, pedophile, let's dance. Naruto leapt at him, and Orochimaru twisted away, but hissed in anger as a tail SD across his face, leaving a thin cut on his cheek. Orochimaru spat his tongue at Naruto, who was charging at him, snagging him by the ankle. With a violent jerk and heave he flung Naruto into the air. With a smug smirk, Orochimaru turned suddenly, sensing movement coming up behind him. The blow clipped him hard on the chin, which erupted in pain as it felt like it shattered, his body twisting, and he saw blonde hair, 9 tails and the whisker-marked face grinning at him as he flew. His eyes searched for the Naruto he'd thrown and saw as it vanished in a puff of smoke while giving him the finger. Cage Bunshin, he thought. Orochimaru's body slammed into a tree a yard away. Naruto's triumphant cheer was cut short as the body dissolved into a patch of mud. Mud clone. Naruto cursed as he used his enhanced senses and the Vunless sense to search for the snake Sannin. To the left, no. The right, no. Below. Naruto exclaimed aloud, leaping into the air and narrowly avoiding the headhunter jutsu used by the Sannin, who erupted from the ground moments later. Naruto for his effort tossed a trio of kunai at the man, but once more it was a mud clone. He heard a shout and turned to see Jiraiya and Tsunade cursing as Sasuke dissolved into mud as well. Damn it, Naruto cursed as he searched the area around them with the Vunla. Damn, they're miles away, we'll never find them. He thought, feeling them slip from his senses. Jiraiya and Tsunade each put a hand on his shoulders. Orochimaru is a master of shooing away, Jiraiya said, sounding as disappointed as Naruto felt. His power base is broken. His arm is destroyed and scattered. Tsunade said. We were so close to ending it once and for all, Naruto said, his eyes on the distance towards the border where Orochimaru and Sasuke had escaped. And we wasted time with all these mud clones the whole time while he built his lead. His clawed hands clenching tightly at his side. Come on, Naruto, let's go home and tally up the S and the property damage, Tsunade said, her voice sounding tired. Naruto noticed that her hands were wrinkled on his shoulder and he looked at her. Tsunade. I'm tired and nearly out of chakra is all. I'll be fine in the morning, she said. I'm too old for this S. Ditto, Jiraiya said with a jaw-cracking yawn. I don't even have energy enough to peep on women. XX. The battle was over. Orochimaru's forces were broken. Those that could retreated to their villages, their numbers less than 70 total. Konoha tallied its own S and injured. Naruto sat atop the head of the Yondaime Hokage and looked at the Sandaime. Well, Oji-san, Pop, the battle's done, we kinda won. He sighed. Guess we sound our victory cheer, he muttered as he watched the villages slowly returning to their homes and businesses. Where do we go from here? He said, his eyes searching the horizon for an answer. Kyuubi's gone. Kakashi and Nami are S. Kankuro, Itachi and Guy are badly injured and in critical condition. Itachi hovered on death's door while Kankuro had 2nd and 3rd degree burns all over his body. He was sealed in a room, the nurses and doctors wearing special suits to check on him and soak his burns in balm. Naruto sighed as he thought about them. Guy's spine was shattered. Grandma Tsunade said she knew nothing that could fix the amount of trauma Guy's back had suffered after it had been broken by the marauder. His life as a taijutsu master is over. Not to mention, Iruka, Kiba and Akamaru, Lee, Naruto muttered aloud. His mind turned towards his brother in all but blood. Nami's death had nearly destroyed Micah. But now, strange as it is, Ino is there to fill the void. He thought. He remembered being there when Inoki Yamanaka had dived into his daughter's mind and discovered the bond. Flashback. Inoki surfaced from the mind of his daughter and looked at the fifth Hokage and Naruto, who was standing by waiting. Well, Tsunade asked, giving him time to gather his thoughts. Inoki sighed. They have a soul bond, strongest one I've ever seen. How? Naruto asked in surprise. Inoki looked at his daughter and brushed her bangs away from her face. When I dove into Ino's memories, I managed to find out the moment it happened. It was when she picked up Musashi's bow to save Micah-san. It seems Nami's soul had refused to pass on to the great beyond until Micah-san was out of danger. What do you mean? Naruto asked, his fox-s blue eyes narrowed. The three conscious blondes looked at the unconscious Ino. It seems Nami-ashi knew that she was going to S. Inoki explained, then held up a hand to stop Naruto from speaking. From what I could see of Musashi's memories that she seemed to have shared with Ino in that split second, a seer from her village told her when and how she was going to S when she was younger. Nami knew this leading up to the battle and she prepared herself for it, and to spare Micah from S of a broken heart like most soul bonds do, she latched onto Ino and forged the bond, using her own soul energy to create it and strengthen it. So, she would have latched onto any woman then? Tsunade asked, not liking what she was hearing. No, from what I could gather, she looked for something in the closest females. Something specific, and she saw it in Ino. Inoki, is Ino in any kind of relationship that you know of? Tsunade asked. The male Yamanaka sighed and shook his head. No. So, what are we going to do? Naruto asked. Us. Nothing. Tsunade said. Micah and Ino will need to be made aware of the bond and given time to figure out their lives with it now. We'll also need to see if Nami left any other surprises for Ino and Micah. Inoki said sadly as he looked at his only child. What about her bow? Naruto asked. It's made from elements in the Underverse. I had Jiraiya seal it in a security scroll and is in the hidden vault in the Hokage's office, which I put a blood seal on then. Tsunade said, then she focused on Inoki. Once they're awake, I want you to schedule sessions to evaluate their minds. Independently and together. Inoki nodded and looked at his daughter, who even in her sleep was turned towards the unconscious Micah across the room. His own eyes traveled to his newly acquired son-in-law. We'll get through this, he said. Naruto wished he was as optimistic. End flashback. On top of all that, I lost my Mechadisciple, Micah lost Stormbringer, and the snake bastard got away again with Sasuke team. Naruto sighed. I wish you both were here, along with Mom. He sighed, anyways, thanks for listening. I gotta go. I need to find Hinata-chan. He brushed his hands down his pants, then together. I'll be back, before I leave Konoha again. He said the last part softly. He'd seen the looks from the villagers once they started leaving the shelters. The looks of fear, when they saw his appearance, his tails. With another sigh he vanished in a flame shushin. Once more silence reigned atop the Hokage monument. The faces of the third and fourth Hokages looked very unhappy with all they had heard. XX. Go home, Hinata. Shizune ordered, coming out of another surgery. Don't come back here for at least 3 days. But you're understaffed, Hinata said. She'd arrived straight from the battlefield once things settled down, and only paused long enough to give Naruto a deep kiss. She spent the night helping the numerous of injured Konoha and Suna shinobi. We'll manage. Now go home, shower, eat something and sleep, Shizune ordered. Hinata looked like she was going to argue when Hanabi came out of another operating room pulling off scrubs. You should go home as well, Shizune-sensei. Hinata blinked. She'd been unaware her sister had been studying medical arts as well. I'll send word if anything happens. You're on chakra fumes as is. Hanabi continued, looking at both women now. Shizune scowled and was ready to argue her own reasons for staying when Chuminazuka was walking past carrying supplies. Get the hell out of here, the both of you, or we'll tie you to a bed and put you under with enough tranquilizers to knock out the QB. Hinata was marshalling her forces to argue when she felt his presence. She was always aware of Naruto. Since his return, she felt hyper-aware of where he was. She turned to see him entering the lobby. Naruto-kun. She thought as a smile appeared when his eyes found her in the busy lobby, their eyes locked. She watched as he strode towards her, his tails trail behind him. She noted some of them were wagging happily after he spotted her. Hinata-chan, he said. She could see the tension in him, neither of them having rested since the battle. He ran into a couple of ignorant villagers. He's trying to put up a mask. She thought, seeing his eyes. Her thoughts turned to mush as he pulled her into a hug with a tail wrapped around her waist, the others cocooning her against him as his arms wrapped around her. Sniffing his chest, she poked him, causing him to jump a bit. What? He asked. You didn't go and shower or sleep? She felt him sigh. I went and talked to Oji-san, and the Yondaime, told them everything that's happened. Hinata's arm slid around his waist and squeezed him. She knew he would go and talk to the important figures in his life. He always did when he was younger and needed to think out loud. The Hokages listened and never judged him. He uses them as his sounding board, like the past Hokages are advising him. She thought with a slight grin. Naruto, Shizune said, getting the blonde's attention. When he looked at her, she continued. Will you please get Hinata out of here? She's not to return for 3 days. Get her to eat, sleep and avoid chakra use. She's on her last legs. Naruto nodded, and before Hinata could protest, he scooped her up bridal style and the couple vanished in a flame shushin. Bye. Chum muttered, shaking her head. Young people. Shizune was hedging away when she found her way blocked by Chum. She turned and found the other way blocked by Hanabi standing there with her arms crossed and tapping her foot. Now Shizune-sensei, do you want a private room and be tranquilized, or will you go home and sleep? Hanabi asked. Shizune looked at Chum for some kind of support at being bossed around by a teenager. The head of the Inuzuka clan agrees with the head of the Hyuga clan. Go home, Shizune, or do we have to call Lady Tsunade and have her come and escort you home? With a sigh, Shizune agreed. Fine, I'll go home, but if anything happens, we'll deal with it, Hanabi said. If anything happens with Itachi, I want to be notified, she said with a glare at the two women, who agreed. With several promises, and more threats of sedation, Shizune left the building under Hanabi's watchful eyes and chuckling from Chum. Hanabi looked at the head of the Inuzuka clan. Go check on your son. Chum sighed. Teenagers with power, she mock grumbled as she headed to where her son was located. XX. Tsunade stood near the window of her office, looking out over Konoha as the villagers began to make repairs and return to their lives. Across her desk was Rin, unmasked. You're certain she won't escape? Yes, milady. Minato-sensei was a master of seals, and he originally designed it to trap Orochimaru. Tsunade sighed. You find Danzo's remains? Yes, milady. They are being disposed of as we speak. Rin said as Tsunade turned towards her. You didn't do it yourself? No, milady. I thought it best that the Shadow Fox return to the shadows. Abiki and Anko are destroying the body. Tsunade nodded her head at that. They'll make sure nothing is left. Rin stood, and seemed hesitant. Is there something else? Tsunade asked. It is something of a personal nature, more of a request than anything. Rin said. And that is? The Hokage asked. When Naruto leaves again, and he will, as he is not tied to Konoha due to the stupidity of the previous council, I wish to be assigned to watch over him. What makes you think he's going to leave? Tsunade asked. The villagers. They will never accept him as he is now. The looks they gave him seeing him in his current state have many of them already making plans to attack him. He's Hanyu. Tsunade said. He and Micah both. They will leave, milady. The villagers will drive them away. You'll need to let them go when the time comes. I ask that I'm assigned to watch over them for you. Tsunade let out a very tired sigh. And when the time comes, I have a feeling they won't be leaving alone. She looked at Rin. I'll consider it. For now, dismissed. Rin bowed and vanished with a leaf shushin. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.